Join us now is Ron Monofoja, as the Director of Products at Juicy Way. Great to have you on the show. Good morning.
Good morning. How's it going?
Fine. It's good to have you. So definitely we're seeing a lot of developments when it comes to, remittances. We have people that are trying to send money back home. Some are trying to send money abroad at this point. Talk to me about what the sender really cares about, versus what the receiver expects.
Yeah, so the sender cares about two things, right? Say you have your mom in Lagos and, you work in the UK or in Canada. You want to make sure that the money you are sending to your mom is the money that your mom gets, right? You also want to make sure that you are not overcharged because you're being charged in foreign currency. Which are like the major concerns of the sender. And finally, you want to make sure that the moment you are making the payments, as much as possible, the receiver is getting this payment near real time. So primarily, like, these are the things that the sender cares about: near real time settlement, the cost of FX, and basically like just security of like the application. Meanwhile, for the receiver, who is like, the person in the receiving country, say Nigeria, for example, what matters the most is just making sure that you receive the money when you're meant to receive the money, and whatever the sender says that you're supposed to receive. So if the sender says, hey, I'm sending you $1,000, when you do the FX conversion, you're making sure that whatever rate you get is equivalent to $1,000. So that's primarily what these two parties care about.
Right, and looking at the currency front, we see the Naira there relatively stable since most parts of 2024 into 2025. How's that making business feel at this point? Because I know if you go back 2023, when we had the Naira moving up in very wild swings, what's it been like this period of having stability with the currency?
Yeah, excellent question. That's also good for business as well. The interesting thing about an industry like this is whether the Naira goes up or down or the Naira is stable. When it's stable, it creates certainty for your customers. So your customers, they have a kind of expectation. So they know that if they come, to try to transact today, they see very similar rate as what they saw yesterday, right? So it creates like consistency. And then whenever the currencies undulates, goes up and down, the FX, I mean, what you notice is customers basically would look at your rates and then they'll try to compare it with rates of maybe like competitors. And then they decide like, oh, this person has like the best rate in the market, and they also have like a reputation for like, T+0 settlement time, which means like same-day settlement, and they also have a reputation for very strong security. So whichever way it goes, stable FX, unstable FX, everything kind of works in our favor.
All right, so we've seen a couple of cryptocurrency, digital asset platforms also help when it comes to sending money abroad, because it costs way less than using the banks. But it's not that easy to use, because when you look at the address, maybe if you're trying to send a stable coin, if you check the address, it's not everybody will understand how to work around those addresses in sending funds and all of that. So how do you manage with customers when it comes to the technology, because most of them are app based? How do you make sure the app is easy to use for mommy in the village, or people that are not that tech savvy?
Yeah, so I think the secret there, not really a secret, more like an open secret, it's a concept called Onramp and offramp. So in the US, and as well as in Nigeria and the countries where we operate, once you onboard on our platform, we're able to give you a USD bank account, like literally an account in your name, right? An account number, a bank, and so on and so forth. And with this information, you can basically, if you want to transact in stable coins, you can basically on-ramp it to stable coins, and you can send the stable coins through different means. So one means, for example, if clients within the application are sending money from one person in the app to another person in the app, you can basically do an internal transfer. So an internal transfer means I get your email address and then I send the money to your email address and you receive it. And when I get your email address and I input your email address into the input field, it shows like your full name, your surname, right? So I'm sure that, oh, this person is who this person is. Now, in the case where maybe you have like, younger generations, like the Gen Zs, maybe, some kid in the US trying to send money to the village, and this kid has like crypto, right? The person in the village does not need to bother themselves because we have like an off-ramp infrastructure. So what typically happens is the person enters, say you want to send 100 or 1,000 USDC. You put you select the currency you are sending from, which is USDC. You select the currency you are sending to, which is typically like maybe the Naira, right? And then you enter the amount. And the system, the off-ramp system or infrastructure does like an auto conversion, and whoever is in the village basically receives Naira. So they don't necessarily have to like dabble into crypto, because for like the older generation, understanding stable coins, although stable coins like has seen like very significant adoption in the US and with the US regulators in recent months, but there's a tiny like learning curve. And so it doesn't restrict them. We just create access, which is like, one of our strong values, like accessibilities. So how do people from different generations interact with cross-border payment? Because at the end of the day, stablecoins is a means to an end. Fiat is a means to an end. The thing that matters the most is one person has value somewhere and they're able to like pass that value to another place, right? Using different conduits. So that's like the second way, the on-ramp and the off-ramp system. The third way is primarily the user experience of crypto or stable coins. So primarily this means rather than trying to memorize or like write the address down, you can basically just click on like a copy button, copies the entire address. You see the chain. When you're sending the money, you put it into the sender's details. Just the way it copies, you paste it there, so you don't have to do any editing, right? And then we also allow customers to save stablecoin addresses as well with like name labels or whatever. So if you do it once and you save it as like your mom's stablecoin or whatever, you don't necessarily have to do that again for that particular person.
Yeah, because it's quite incredible, when you're trying to send maybe any of these stable coins, you have different blockchains you might have to go through. Maybe it's Ethereum blockchain or Solana, or, depends on the blockchain at this one. Everyone's looking for the cheaper blockchain. And most of the time, we hear affordability, when it comes to using stable coins. So I'm trying to imagine a time where there's full adoption now for stable coins and, for cross-border payment. Would it still stay affordable? Would the blockchains be able to handle, the kind of traffic that comes with full adoption?
Yeah, like already, like the blockchains work globally, and they handle like billions of dollars per annum, right? Probably even billions, and it's growing rapidly, like extremely fast. One of the companies that mints USDC is like the second most popular stablecoin regulated by the US. The company went public a couple of months ago, and their stock was like oversubscribed by close to 27x. The reason why is because of the rapid adoption, right? Stablecoins, how SWIFT payments, came and revolutionized finance sometime in the 1900s. Stablecoins is like the future of finance, right? And what we're trying to do, aside from making it like easy for for individuals to transact, and it makes transaction like super fast. So for example, if you wanted to send like dollars to China, for example, the minimum you get, the best time you probably get is like a T+1. If you go to our traditional commercial banks, you can see like a T+2, T+3 sometimes, right? With stable coins, you can send stable coins to China right now, and in less than 2 seconds, the receiver gets it in China, and then it converts to like their local currency or whatever, right? That's how interesting stable coins is, and that's what makes stable coin, the future of finance. So what we're doing is we're trying to also position like Nigeria and Africa in that play, right? Africa doesn't have to get left behind. Nigeria doesn't have to get left behind. So businesses, if you're a business, you import, you export, and you have like customers who have like emergencies. These customers want to maybe pay for their goods, real quick. Like stablecoin is something to explore, and that's one of the reasons why one of our products, we have API products where like banks and other fintechs can like integrate into their system. So you don't have to like go to square zero to start. We've gone like 0 to 1 for you. And what you basically do is like integrate our API, our technology into like your platform, banking platform, fintech platform, whatever the case is, and you can help your customers, whether businesses or individuals, to send money, to send USD today, and it gets the recipients in less than 5 seconds.
All right. So, Ron, I'm trying to imagine here, maybe Mr. Chike in Alaba that's trying to pay for goods in China. Does he trust stablecoins enough to convert maybe 10 million or 50 million naira into stablecoins to actually send out there? Do we have that trust when it comes to using this platform from some of those kind of producers and sellers here?
Yeah, so typically, like, that's a challenge that we face in this part of the world. You might not have the trust, but if you follow the news, if you follow like CNN, if you follow BBC, if you see what's happening in international markets, right, you know that this technology, stablecoin is a technology, you know that this technology is here to stay, right? Also, you want to also make sure that the processor or the platform you are using, like they are regulated, they are standard, they have like, all the compliance and regulatory requirements to, house your money and to help you like process like remittance payments and whatnot. And I think for me, like, that's usually like enough. That's usually enough for any business or any individual to like transact. By the time you say you want to send money somewhere and we ask you, okay, what's the name of the sender? We do a KYC on the sender, right? We do a KYC on your company. And these KYC processes are pretty standard. Then it gives you an idea of like the quality of compliance and the regulatory standard that we keep up with. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So much to unpack there. We actually run out of time now, but thanks so much. We'll keep tracking to see how the trust builds for some of the buyers here in Nigeria trying to pay and make some of those cross-border payments. We'll see how it grows with stable coins at this point, because I'm sure it's not that easy. But thank you so much, Ron Northoja, as the Director of Product at Juicy Way. Thank you for coming on today.
All right, thank you. app.juicyway.com. Have a good day.